Another exciting week. I know I might sound like a broken record, but these are all exciting weeks, especially as we're in production and we're just seeing everything come to life. So I'm just going to give you just a quick brief of what is going on, and then we're going to go in and look at a lot of great art and animation. So we recorded some pickup lines from Gabriel. That was the first thing we did this week, Hjalti and I. And really, you know, we don't always have the luxury to do this, but it was nice to be able to go in there, get a few more lines we needed. Also, Hjalti has done a really great job on fanny pack and layout today. He's going to show you that. It's funny, we didn't think it was going to be such a difficult shot to put through layout, but it surprised us. So he's going to show you that. And then animation, it's great to see how quickly we had just finished Ritual, the sequence Ritual and layout last week, and it's already moved into animation. And I think I can say it's probably almost halfway done. And then Village, I think only has 2 more shots. So it's pretty great. And also, when it comes to layout, I think we only have like 2 or 3 more sequences to finish up. You're going to see some shading for Phil, which is great, and some environmental stuff with Julien, and also a fun thing is we got some more score music in. So our composer Ben, you're going to hear some additional score music for the bloody shoe being hidden in the tree, and also in Nightfall and Ritual. So you're in for a lot of special treats today. So Hjalti, take it away.
Thank you, sir. Let's see. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I guess shared studio, or maybe there's a shortcut already to it. Aha, bingo. And my name. Yes, so worked on fanny pack, just examples of trying out different camera angles. Everything has pros and cons to it. I've already moved on to Parade, just creating the file and everything for it. So that's kind of work in progress. Giving some feedback notes. I don't remember what I did this week, and that's why I'm kind of looking through the weekly folder. I think for the most part, I think the biggest thing to just show is fanny pack. Other than that, it's just been a lot of little editing updates or whatnot. Wait, there's no sound? Gasp. Well, believe me, this is way better with sound. Why is there no sound? And then and it's perfect. Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good, works. I must say. Yeah, it's in the film. Yeah, exactly. There was a lot of there's a lot of back and forth between how much information do I put in there until I'm just animating this. But then also I can't make certain shot decisions with the camera unless there is movement going on, and then I know how much, like what the angle should be. And then on the other end, which is the editing, how many frames I have to trim away, how many, finding that right balance. Because, for example, if somebody jumps on you, a little guy jumps on you and you're running, at some point, the viewer starts asking, why doesn't she just stop? Why doesn't she just use the meat stick or whatever? So I'm trying to find that balance where there's clarity, but also you don't just kind of suspend, you want the suspense of disbelief, but I guess where disbelief hits you in the face like a wet towel. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, that's my week.
As Matthew was mentioning, we are halfway through Ritual right now. And yeah, it's really looking good. I will be showing some of my work and also some work from Monica and Mac. They couldn't make it to the weeklies today. So I've been starting this week off with Ritual, the first shot there, where Ellie is poking through the bushes the previous shot, she's shining her light. What is going on in the Sprite village, and she just lost her friends. So this is one shot here, and I'll be looping that. The next shot actually is a follow-up of that. It was a little tricky to get her not touching any of the leaves, and she is still poking through some of the leaves, but this is the least that I could do, just to make the life of the effects team and the set dressing team a little less painful. So I shift around some bushes here and there to make sure that it still feels like she is going through the bushes, and but not having to poke through every branch there. So that was my first shot. Then next to that, I had the second shot after that as well. Oh, actually, this is later on. So this feels like a cut, but it's not. It does cut to a shot similar to this. But this shot, this is the first pass of it. Just feeling the right energy there, and we made some slight adjustments to the composition. I moved Rex a little bit up here because his head is so long that even though his mouth is in the center, his eyes were almost getting out of screen there. And then I also added some props here for this shot. So this shot is done. And then the shot afterwards as well, where Ellie is helping Rex here. So this is the first version, and I did Ellie a little too bright here. She's hopping up and then going into position. And the feedback that I got here is to get her a little bit more physical down to Rex here, adding an extra step. So the latest version here is where she's actually having a little bit of a double bounce before she settles, and getting the pine cone out of his mouth there. So that was my sequence for ritual, my shots, and then I jumped to Grove. So we already are officially on Grove. The kickoff will be later, but these shots that I continued with were already set up in pre-production. So this shot right here. And let me actually get you full HD. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of a better view here. But basically what is done in this shot is that I added some butterflies here. There's a spider right here, and also the nest of eggs, and obviously the bird that's flying through. So this shot is ready to render. And then lastly, I also recovered some animation from Rex taking a beer and burping. I wish you could hear it with the audio, but let me do a little bit of there you go. So this shot is in animation. It's pretty much done. There is some fixes that we need to do on the tent, and also add some animation on the I'm giving myself notes here. Adding some animation on the pole here that will be done by Matt, just adding some bones to adjust the pole being cracked. So that's something that we'll be taking care of after. So that was my week. Some other shots from Mac that I will be showing, which is a pass of Elder Sprite, and his first. You're cutting in the mid-action here where Elder Sprite is looking like he had too many beers. But let me go over some of his work. Like this is an early version. So this was an early iteration, and we tried a couple of things how we could make his gestures a bit more interesting. So here's another version. Let me actually do the voice acting as well. Sorry, let me try that again. Absolutely. Friend of the forest is a friend of the sprites. And this was kind of the general idea of it. We did do some retiming, and this is the last version of it. And this is the version that we ended up with. It's very dialogue driven, so it's a little hard to show it without audio, but it's great. Okay. Then this shot is also from Mac, where Rex is just being released from the pine cone in his mouth, and he's been fully stressed talking to Ellie here. It's great also with audio. Without audio, it's like, what's going on here? But yeah, there's some great stuff in here, and I think it's working nicely. Then next up is a pass from Monica. She will be showing a full progression probably later. I'll be just showing the latest version here, and you've already seen this version in the edit where she has been working on the shot right here. It was very important to hit the right attitude of Rex here. Sorry that I stopped midway through, but to like, there was a moment where he was really mocking Ellie, and he's still doing that in the beginning, but we want him to be more himself right here, where he's taking on his own role here, being the tough guy, grabbing the jar from Phil, and yeah. And as you can see, there's a lot of things that we still need to work on, but that will be shown later on. But that was Monica's and Mac's week as well.
This week I was working on the same shot as last week. This is the 30 of village sequence. I'm not going to do the audio, sorry. But yeah, for this shot I had to change like I had to do 3 versions of Phil eating the pickles, because in the first version he threw the leaf, as you can see here. There is another version where he put the hand inside the jar and pick one and eat it. But finally we chose to have something more clear and simple. Also for Victoria, because at the beginning she was like with a disgusting attitude, and Matthew and Hjalti wanted something like more like surprise. So this is the last version and the final one. And also I worked in this shot, this one that I started yesterday, but this is only like a first pass, or almost a first pass of the characters and the acting of each one, and yeah, I still need work. So that's my week.
So this week, and also some of this is from last week, there's a bunch of props. Look at this, the best pickle rig you've ever seen. It's already gone, so sad. And then I rigged the branch with a bunch of leaves. This I actually rigged the leaves about 5 minutes before the weekly, but we don't talk about that. Then Rick asked for some extra bones on the 10, so I slapped some extra bones on the 10. This is the thing that he mentioned. Originally the wrong thing was bent, but now we can bend it dynamically, so whatever. A bunch of sticks, cool, best rig you've ever seen. Sausage, now this is impressive. Okay, and then a bunch of broken glass. Yeah, so this is like props from like the last over a couple of weeks, because I don't want to show off like one prop at a time. Like, look, I rigged this stick. Are you impressed now? But instead here I rigged 25 sticks. Much more impressive. Yeah,
this one works great, by the way. I love this.
I know, right? And it's a good thing you say that, because that is surprising, because it is made with curves, and rotating curves is a nightmare, and it works. So yeah, that is good. And then finally this thing, which I think might need some more stuff on it. I just left a note for myself as you were presenting, Rick, that maybe we can put some extra lattices on this thing. So this is the bush that Ellie walks through. Okay, so that's it for props. And then this is something that Jeroen is working on, one of our developers. On my request, making the weight painting overlay good, like it was 3 years ago in 2.7. Wouldn't that be nice? So you see on the left, I'm in weight paint mode. I'm moving some bones around, but I don't see my weights. It's just black. Why? Because Ellie's hair is black. It's a nightmare, and I've been using an add-on to work around that. And then on the right, it's with Jeroen's patch applied. And then it's no longer multiplying the weights. And it's still work in progress because, of course, then there's all kinds of shading modes you can combine, and then it becomes a nightmare. But I think he's figuring it out. And then I made a second episode. Oh, it's going to be loud, isn't it? No. Mute. A second episode of the Cloud Rig tutorial series. So, yep, that's coming along. I'm not sure when that will be online, but one day. And then quick things on fill. I brought in the particle hair that Andy did before he went on holiday. Hooked it up to some bones and some lettuces. If I ever get there, there you go. So that it can be squashed now when he's being rolled into his grave. Rick wanted the hair to be squashable. Hopefully this will work. Not tested yet. And also he didn't have the square teeth hooked up. Simon noticed that today, so I hooked it up. So now he can have the sharp teeth going on. Okay. Yeah, you can toggle between round and sharp, Dali. Audience question that the microphone is not picking up. And then, the fanny pack nightmare for Hjalti. Something about this I actually fixed also just as I was recording this, because you didn't tell me that the curve was set to 2D, so it once again was not rotating properly. So yeah, there was a bunch of back and forth on this fanny pack nightmare, because of course Hjalti ended up needing infinite fanny pack strap. So I had to slap a curve setup in there and hope that will work out with shading, and we believe it will. So there you go, infinite fanny pack, woohoo! And the same tech will be used for the shot where she throws it over a branch. And I was hoping I would only need it there, but no, we also need it on the actual fanny pack that she's wearing. Yeah, eventually it works. And I think that is it for my week.
So this week I jump on this shot of Elder Sprite, where he's presenting himself to the guys, and well, it's like these shots that Rick said, that without audio he doesn't understand anything, but he's like, we are sprites, we sprite balance to the forest. And yeah, on the left we have the blocking pass I did, and on the right side I got the like a pass of the body done. I'm also missing the lip sync on the right side and more stuff, but the main change I got here was on this pose right here, where he lands with the two hands on his hips, but it was feeling like too much pose to pose, like he was talking to do this and do this and do this. So we make like this kind of thing with the hand that he leads to another pose, and it feels better. And then I'm gonna show you just the last version with everything add, the sprites on the background, all done, all the lip sync, and yeah. I like the shot too, so that's great. And yeah, that's all my week.
I basically started by kind of wrapping up this prop a bit. It's already rigged by Matt, so that's perfect. The main things that were kind of missing was I needed to adjust this to work with the latest version of the layout, so it needed to be more curved, and just in general the proportions needed to work with the animation. I tweaked the leaves a bit, made them local, and I added a nest, which is a little bit more like cutesified in proportions, a bit more simple, but generally still the same size. So you can like put eggs in it and it should work. Then there was, just to integrate it better with the set, I made some adjustments to the trees because we don't want to see the breaking point. We don't want to add any more extra overhead to the effects team. So instead, it's just kind of getting ripped out of the tree, and we just see it, like we just see the broken end then suddenly when it gets ripped out. So everyone can just imagine based on the sound what happens. There were some adjustments here. We wanted to make this part where Elder Sprite stands on to be a broken off branch. So this still needs some tweaks and shading, but I just recycled some stuff and then made some little adjustments just so based on Hjalti's feedback that the legs can be even more visible from Elder Sprite, but this should just work way better. Hold on. And I didn't actually render all of these last shots from the set, but I had to go through all of that just to make sure that it works, so that all of these areas are filled in. Some of this needs to be filled in shot by shot basis, but I also once they start running away and Rex and Jay start like running into each other and dropping the sound box, the boom box. There's also way more background forest added, so that should finally fill up the forest more. Apart from that, for the rest of the week, I was working on this shot and what comes before. So here I added like a couple of bushes just as an extra transitional element. And of course, the shot that comes before that is this one. So I just started scattering some stuff around, made some more variations of the trees, because we actually made the most diverse forest ever of just oak trees. And in the layout and in the original drawings, there were actually pine trees and some more variation, and we don't have that. And so I'm just gonna try to make this kind of as cute and fluffy as possible. With just oak trees, and just as like a guiding feature, there could be like branches sticking out at the top, just kind of filling in as that element of the vertical lines leading us down. Andy will have final say on the clouds. I'm just putting in placeholders, but overall this is kind of what I'm going for. At first I was struggling for a while with this because we couldn't render this. I just hit render and I would just immediately, like it would just take forever and then eventually run out of RAM. So with Simon, Simon came up with a little solution in the geometry nodes network to just, instead of this like loading all of the geometry for 5 minutes, it just starts rendering immediately. So that's amazing, and hopefully we can use that for all the other shots in the movie, so that all of the background trees that are scattered in the forest can just immediately render. So that would be amazing. So that's great. And more of this next week, but this is just a little play blast just to see this in motion. I want to talk to Hjalti later about how the camera is actually angled, because in the original, the text is actually on the sky and here it's actually on the horizon line. So maybe we need to rotate the camera a bit more, but yeah, this will be worked on more. This is essentially my week.
So this week I've been working on shot. I worked the last week, and this week we could finally finish. So in the right part of the screen there's the layout, and the other there's my first version. Here I just added the sprites around Phil. And in newest versions, I added all sprites around Phil. And for finally, here is the final version. In all versions, I had some feedback to add some sticks or some torches, like the dance, as things I talked the last week. And here is the last version, Rick's animated fill. And while I was doing this shot, I started the following one of Ritual. And here's the layout, and here's the first version. I did the first version like more bouncing the head, like with the flow. And then in more advanced versions, oh, here is no hair. I rotate the head, and in the last version I got, that Rich told me like not to bounce the head with the floor and just rotate. And here is my last version of this shot. And that was my week.
This week I just came from this week I came from holidays, so it took me like 4 days to learn how to animate again. But I managed to do this shot.
We really shouldn't disrupt their habitat.
Okay.
We really shouldn't disrupt their habitat. We really
Right.
shouldn't disrupt.
That's it. I decided to finish it up for the last week, and I started to do this one.
You picked the wrong camping spot, bitches. Sprite on! You picked the wrong.
Okay, this is the first version. I was doing some first like the body. I tried to do work on the body and some poses on the arms, but mainly was like trying to get the attitude on the old Sprite. I made another version here, a bit more refined. And also I was having like some notes, as you can see here. These all are notes from Rick. He's giving me notes all the time. And this is the last version I had for today. So that's it. I can put it with sound. Wait.
You picked the wrong camping spot, bitches. Sprite on!
And this is
Okay, so I wanted to show some last stuff before the holidays from last weekly, which I missed. So I wrapped up like the little contact sheet thing in a separate add-on. So it works now pretty nice. You can, I've loaded like all the renderings from the snack sequence. And if you hit this one button, it takes like the topmost shots and assembles them in a contact sheet in like a different scene. So it works pretty nice now, and you can like quickly exit the scene again, and you came back where you came from. And I changed the thing that it now creates like meta strips, so you can. The sequence editor only has like 32 tracks, and this sort of like works around it. And now you can like take, well, at least, I don't know, 200 or something. And it also works, you can like adjust the dimensions of the contact sheet, make a different resolution and whatever. You can also adjust the rows and say, I want to have, I don't know, a specific amount of rows or whatever. And it takes that, which also works. And you can also adjust how much space there is between the different cells and whatever. So lots of stuff to do. And yeah, and here I take like a lot of strips, like 102, and make a contact sheet. It takes a while, but it still works. Yeah, so this is for the lighting guys to review their sequence and see if it's looks good in a continuous way. Then I worked on a little tool called bpurge, which is like a command tool where you can basically give it a folder, and it goes through all the files and makes like a orphan data purge. This is something we need because like a lot of times there's many unused data blocks accumulate, and at some point we need to purge them. And this is like a little command tool that does that. So it goes through all the files, purges them, and you see like, okay, here it deleted 20 data blocks or whatever, 3 data blocks, and it does it 2 times for each file. And after that, you get like a little SVN prompt where you can commit the files you just purged, which is quite handy, also mostly used by the lighting guys. And then there's another article online about animation caching, which Pablo just published today. Which shows what thoughts went into our production in terms of how we cache animation. And then there was some other pipeline TD stuff this week. We changed from Dropbox to SyncThing, a new software. So I helped all the animators to set it up and, relink all the add-ons and blah, 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 which took quite a while. I made a breakdown of the Grove sequence and adjusted our shot builder configs and set up all the shots from Grove. So this is our last big sequence and probably the most complex one of the movie, like around 30 shots. And if we have animated this, it's only like 3 more. So we're getting close. And I also helped Bo to, we needed to change for the whole snack sequence. The set was overwritten and we needed to change that. And I helped him a little bit to get the snack sequence done this week. And also I'm starting now to do all the little add-ons I wrote. They're gonna merge into the Blender Studio Tools repository, which is like one big repo where we have all of our tools that we use in the studio. And this gets done with all the add-ons now that I did. So we have one place where everyone can find everything. And that was 1 week.
So I worked on 3 shots of Ritual this week. It's a lot of screaming and running around and yeah, lots of fun. So let's see, I started out pretty simply. Rex was moving a bit too much, so I simplified it. Let's see. And then it was just lots of tweaking. Final version. Lots of fun doing this. The second shot is a bit more chaos. I'm still working on this. It's a lot of fun though. Let's see, version 1. So in the beginning, I mainly worked on the Rex and J. And then I'll go to this version, I think. Yeah. Or just the final version. So just worked on their expressions, timing, all the crazy stuff. And then there's this fantastic shot. I'm just going to show and it was so much work. Yeah, that was my week.
Right, so Annie's on holiday this week, so just quickly want to mention on behalf of the lighting and rendering team, Snacks is wrapped up and 75% final rendered already, and all the shots are on the farm, so that's going to be finished next week. Also, Nightfall could be wrapped to also be rendered final, with the last shot that was still out, and mostly responsible for that is Bo. So there was a lot of stuff that was broken, needed to be readjusted, and because Snacks is just a really large sequence with 34 shots, that was a lot of work that's not very flashy to show off. That's why he isn't showing anything this week, but yeah, that's mostly Bo's work. So this week there was also a note workshop going on because Jack was here this week, so a bunch of the work was also going on there, where we were doing some software design for geometry nodes, some important decisions to be made. So I also spent some time there. So just to quickly show that was also going on. In the end, we came to a very nice decision, I think, where everybody can be happy with. So that's great. But otherwise, I obviously also worked on Sprite Fright. So I mostly worked on field shading this week. Was the main focus. So this is where I started off with, which is like very early shading tests on the old version of Fill. And then I iteratively just picked up the new Fill, established the base shading, and step by step just added the details. And in the freckles and everything, there was a decision to be made to remove the logo on the shirt again, to simplify the design back to where it was and not make additional decisions that changed the character design. And yeah, this is the final version for the base shading that I have right now. Yeah, freckles, everything, detail. I think I also have a turntable of that. Ah, there you go. That's the turntable. Okay, yeah, turntable. Then just to finish it off also here in EV. And there was obviously also the distressed version of Phil needed. Oh yeah, there it is. He's having a rough time being killed in the end in the movie. Oh, I think by now people know about that. So that needed to be done. I did that today actually. Just pretty much reusing all of the shading assets that I have from the other characters, making it work with the system, painting in all the maps. And so that could be done relatively quickly. And yeah, that's what I have. And that's my week.
Now, I only have the message that we will probably skip next Friday weekly, right? And then we move on the week after. So everybody will have a 1 hour holidays next week. How about that? Huh? Not more. So the work continues, but it's Francesco is enjoying holidays. I think there are more people not here on Friday, so we skipped Friday. And then in 2 weeks, we will see immense progress. But further, I want to say that I'm super happy at the edit, what I saw an hour ago. The flow and it's really well built up. And you can really see how it's going to work. So this is amazing. So well done, everyone.